Alright, what the heck is going on, my dudes? We're back here today with the newest champion entering MCOC. We got Arcade. Now, this video is about a week late. Apologies for that. I didn't have access to this guy on the CCP server at launch, so we're going to have to make do today. But he's currently in Arena, so you might be grinding. He's in the Crystal, so you may have opened one and gotten lucky. You may have picked him up from, the early access, because why not? You wanted him from the early access, you know what I'm saying? So, let's go over it today. Let's talk about Arcade. We're going to start from the top down. He has a lot of words in this kit. I'm going to break it down for you super duper easily. He's very simple to play at the end of the day, and honestly, you could really ignore most of these words if you just want to know how to play him. But first things first, does he need to be duped? No. So, the top one is mostly a defensive ability, alright? Just before Arcade auto-blocks an attack, he gains a non-stacking steadfast buff, allowing him to block unblockable attacks, right? So, that lasts for 10 seconds at 6200, and again, that could be useful occasionally on offense, no doubt about it. I mean, listen, if you get hit clipped by an unblockable special, hey, the auto block's gonna save you, and that's super duper nice to have, right? But at the end of the day, you don't really want to use the auto block unless you accidentally do, so that's nice. He's totally playable on offense unduped. On top of that, he gains up to a 15% torment debuff for 5 seconds when they're in the poisonous cloud. Okay, this maxes out at 3 stacks. All right, and again, you don't need the torment. It's nice to have. It's going to increase his damage over time, but again, 15% is not super duper long. Okay, now let's talk about his persistent prize tickets. Okay, these are kind of like his pre-fights at the end of the day. He starts with 5 of these things, or no, sorry, he starts with 3 of these things, and he can gain up to 5, okay? So, when he wins in a fight as an attacker, he converts 50% of his arcade tokens into these persistence prize tickets. It's a cool little thematic thing. It's kind of like you're at an arcade, right? And you have your tokens, right? And you convert them into tickets, like you're playing the game. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, all right? Now, since you can only max out at 5, you pretty much always want to stay at 10 arcade tokens, so you should always have 5 tickets to use your pre-fights, and you can use things like when you need to use them, okay? So you don't have to worry about like picking and choosing if you're using him on offense, okay? Now, persistence prize tickets can be spent in the pre-fight screen to activate a fabulous prize. These last for 1 second, and they can only be used by Arcade. You can't use them for other champions. Now, very important, these are always active on defense, okay? Let's talk about these prizes. Power Up. This is to fight Domino, okay? Along with other things, this can get around like concussion and ability accuracy reduction, stuff like that. Personal effects and the stun from the parry mastery gain an additional 100% ability accuracy, alright? Also, if he's not fighting a cosmic champion, he also gains incinerate immunity. So this could be good for hazard shift incinerate, right? He can also gain poison immunity with the next one, so you can gain both poison and incinerate immunity for hazard shift if you combine cheat code with power up, okay? So those immunities are always really nice. They're shifting immunities, kind of like Scorpion, where you can't choose all 3, right? So if you choose the first 2, you're not going to gain the shock immunity from the bottom one. But if you want shock and incinerate immunity, you can put on power up and game wizard, right? So you can kind of like choose what you need, all right? Kind of like an arcade. So, cheat code. The opponent's true strike, true accuracy, and true sense effects suffer minus 100% ability accuracy, and if it's not against a cosmic opponent, he gains poison immunity. Now, this is definitely more so a defensive one, okay? Like I said, these are all active on defense, okay? He's a little bit of an annoying guy to fight on defense because of his animations and because of his auto block. Now, could this be useful on attack? Sure, the immunity for sure is going to be useful, and avoiding the true strike, true accuracy, and true sense effects will allow him to auto block, right? So like against like Hercules, it's not going to get around his auto block, stuff like that. But again, at the end of the day, this is more so defensive. Now, Game Wizard. This one is a bit of a dual use here. The duration of personal damaging debuffs cannot be reduced. So, against like, for example, future Ant-Man, his bleeds and his incinerates are not going to be reduced. Against Angela, not going to be reduced, okay? That's definitely useful on attack. Also on defense, that's going to be good for if you're trying to use those champions against him on defense, right? It's going to make him stronger on defense, all right? Also, if you're not fighting a cosmic, he gains shock immunity. All right, so those are his pre-fights, okay? Now, on top of that, he doesn't benefit from the collar tech mastery normally. Instead, he gains additional attack rating for each rank invested and lowers the defensive combat power rate by 7% for each unique personal damaging debuff on them, and he has 4, I believe. Maybe 5, but I think 4, okay? Now, also, as an attacker, he has the future Ant-Man thing where if he does a light ending combo, it disables a special 3 for half a second, okay? Now, let's talk about the tokens that lead to the persistent prize tickets, okay? Whenever an opponent would be poisoned, Arcade gains 1 Arcade token. This does work, for example, against Immortal Abomination, okay? Just gonna shoot up. You're gonna shoot up. He uses a special 1, gains 3 poisons on him, right? He's gonna shoot up, okay? As a defender, he gains 2 Arcade tokens, essentially, if a poison is not prevented by poison immunity, right? So the way you want to fight this guy there with the cloud is either don't go in the cloud or use a poison immune champion, right? Also, he gains 3 on the final hit of special 2 on hit or on block on defense, okay? Now, each Arcade token increases his armor rating and the potency of his personal damaging debuffs by 10%. This is why you want to stay maxed out at 10, all right? And while he has 10, or 3 as a defender, he gains an indefinite auto block passive, granting a 100% chance to auto block incoming attacks, okay? So this is what's going to make him annoying on defense, right? Because you can't counter it with True Strike and all these things. True Sense, you can't counter him with that. And the auto block is going to trigger the parry mastery in Battlegrounds. So you want to bait the special 2 to avoid the poisonous cloud, to avoid the tokens, but you also can't block the special 2 at the end of it, or else he's going to gain the tokens. So you have to learn the special 2 decks when you fight him. That's why he's going to be pretty decent on defense when he first comes out, in my opinion. All right. Now, with 2 or more tokens, he also has a 100% chance to auto block attacks while charging or releasing his own heavy attack. That's pretty fun to do, right? Because you only need 2 tokens, so you can auto block like kind of right away if you really want to. All right. Also, when auto blocking an attack, he inflicts a shock debuff, all right, and triggers the parry mastery, okay? Now, let's talk about the poisonous cloud. After the second hit of his heavy attack, he deploys the poisonous cloud, okay? That goes where he finishes his heavy attack. When an opponent enters the cloud, walks into it, you gain 1 Arcade token, and each second they would get poisoned, all right? Now, whether they're immune to the poison debuff or not, every 1 second that they're in the cloud, they're going to be gaining a token. So they're going to be gaining a token when they enter and leave. So if they go like boom, 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 that's 3 tokens. If you parry them in the cloud and they stay here for like 3 seconds, right? You parry them again, that's also 3 tokens. There's a few ways that you can do it, okay? That's one of his traps. Additionally, he also has the booby trap. At the start of each fight, the booby trap is placed in the defender's corner, okay? And while the opponent is on top of the trap, they're more likely to use a special, kind of like Kate Bishop's corner mechanic, 60% more likely to launch a special. So that nice little taunt is very nice. If the opponent isn't using a special and they're on top of it, you can charge your heavy attack from anywhere on the field as long as they're on top of it, and you can stun them for 3 seconds passively. That's going to give you enough time to finish your heavy attack and dash in and attack, all right? Also, while the opponent is inside of a poisonous cloud and they are stunned by this explosion, the existing poisonous cloud will be refreshed instead of deploying a new one. Cool. Pretty much the same thing as deploying a new one. But anyway, after exploding, the booby trap goes on standby for 20 seconds or 10 seconds as a defender, and this expires faster per unique damaging debuff on the opponent. Okay? Now, let's talk about his special attacks. We're going to go in reverse order. Special 3. You randomly inflict a bleed, rupture, or shock debuff that deals damage per second. Okay? Now, the reason why you would want this is because there are many abilities that he has where it's like based on the unique personal debuffs on the opponent, he gains increased attack. They gain a faster booby trap, right? Cooldown. They gain less combat power rate defensively, right? So in like a longer fight, if you're using this guy, you might want to go for a couple special 3s and get those on. But honestly, in my opinion, you're better off sticking to special 2 and special 1 spam. So the special 2 inflicts incinerate debuffs and bleed debuffs, okay? And the special 1 inflicts shock debuffs and also poison debuffs, because the first hit of the special 1 is going to put a poisonous cloud at the opponent's location. You should use this in the corner. That way they're in the corner and getting poisoned by the cloud while they're also getting shocked, okay? So I feel like it's best to build to special 3, use your light ending combo to disable your special 3, use your special 2, activate the booby trap afterwards, and then go in and use your special 1. That's what I like to do. I'm going to show that to you right now, okay? So Here we have a small Cyclops, about 230,000 health. This is like a generic battleground size of health pool. Then I'm going to show you a larger one. I'm going to start out by doing a heavy attack here, okay? And as you can see, we're going to try and keep him here in the cloud a little bit just so we can build up some arcade tokens, all right? So we can increase the potency of our damage over time. At this point, I'm going to shoot him back towards the corner, okay? Because that's where I want him to be. I always want my guy in the corner here. You'll notice that his block proficiency is really nice. That's one thing I happen to like a little bit. We're going to activate the booby trap here because why the heck not? All right, stack on those arcade tokens, bait out a special 2, push him back into the cloud over here, and now we're fully at 10. We did a light ending combo, and we're going to go for the special 2, and look at all those damaging debuffs doing a lot of damage. We're going to go right in here for the special 1, right? Here's the heavy attack, boom, into the special 1. So that was pretty efficient, right? Here's one thing that is very important to know, okay? For damaging debuffs, if there are immunities, you're going to be losing a lot of your damage. It's not like he replaces this with degen or plasma or something like that. He doesn't have that type of ability. On top of that, if his loop gets a little disrupted, right, if he can't build a special 3 easily and do all these things, it's going to be a little bit tougher to use arcade on attack. That being said, when his loop isn't disrupted and he's able to place all of his debuffs, he is very efficient to use, okay? But he does need sort of like a vanilla sort of fight in order to do it, right? Now here's the thing, he has that first pre-fight that's going to allow him to be a very solid domino counter, and that's definitely very useful. Lots of domino counters, but at the end of the day, as a dual-use champion for like Battlegrounds, for example, right? Having another domino counter is always very nice to have. Here, we're going to set up the Poison Cloud in the corner, right? This is a larger Cyclops. This is about 700,000 health, okay? So now you can see we're building up our arcade tokens very, very naturally here by just keeping him in the corner, and by the time we get to our special 2, the booby trap is already going to be refreshed. So as you can see, there are lots of different ways that you can play arcade. We're going to go for the special 2 here, all right? Stack on the incinerates and stack on the bleeds. We're going to go for a heavy attack to stun him, go right in for a combo into a special 1, and now we have all of these debuffs with 10 arcade tokens, all right? At that point, our booby trap is going to be refreshing very, very fast. As you can see, we're pretty much all the way refreshed, all right? So now we're going to go in again, and I'm going to just pretty much repeat the cycle. We took off half of his health. We're going to go for the heavy attack, stun there, right? And then we're going to build up to special 2 and just launch that guy right away, okay? Then we're going to bait out the special 2 from this guy, okay? And we're going to kind of just keep this going. And we're going to keep him in the corner, bait out the special, use the taunt, right? We can go for a heavy attack here. Bam, boom, right into the special 1, right? Get the shocks on, get some more poisons on, keep him in the cloud. He's going to use a special attack because he's taunted pretty much. And there I'm going to show you the auto block. See that? You can dash into specials like that, which is really, really nice. I like that a lot, right? Go for another booby trap here, and that's it. Go for the special 1 to finish it off. So at the end of the day, what you want to do with arcade is you want to just kind of attack the opponent and use your special attacks and use your booby traps strategically when you want to use them, right? I wish I could easily show you like some more utility stuff for him, but unfortunately you can't use pre-fights and like duels or stuff like that. But basically, his utility mostly lies in the pre-fights, right? We have 3 immunities. We have Incinerate, Poison, and Shock. Now you can only activate 2 of these at one time, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be very often that you need all 3 of those, right? So that's definitely nice. Power Up, really great for fighting Domino. Game Wizard, decent for fighting like future Ant-Man. Not going to be the best option though, keep in mind, right? Same thing for Angela. Again, not going to be the best option against Angela, but for those sort of situations, right? If there are nodes, for example, that reduce the duration of your debuffs, you can go ahead and use that for that, right? That's going to be nice. If there are nodes that give you concussion, you can use Power Up. If there are nodes that give the opponent True Strike, you can use the second one. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and take a peek at the deep dive rotation that I made so we could see him in action against like Domino and more meta relevant defenders.
To begin, strike the opponent and push them back toward the wall. You could use your heavy to place a poisonous cloud and start building your arcade tokens. Your booby trap in the corner will make the defender more likely to use their special attack. So, bait a special and then chain your heavy after your punish to trigger the trap and gain more tokens. From here, max out your power and perform a light ending combo to disable your special 3 and use your special 2 in the corner. Feel free to play a little aggressive, since your tokens will let you auto-block incoming attacks. Then, use your special 1 to place the rest of your debuffs and watch the opponent melt in your traps. And hey, don't forget about those pre-fights that grant different immunities and benefits to Arcade at the start of the fight. These allow him to take a variety of different fights in different ways. And while in no way required, Arcade synergizes nicely with the Collar Tech Mastery, gaining increased attack rating and reducing the opponent's defensive combat power rate by 7% for each unique personal damaging debuff. There are lots of ways to use Arcade, so depending on the fight before you, choose the right pre-fight and let the games begin.
That's Arcade, man. I think he's going to be very annoying on defense at first in Battlegrounds, and in the right matchup, he's going to definitely do well on attack, especially in the right meta. But yeah, man, he's very interesting. Like I said, if his loop gets a little bit disrupted, it's a little tough to use him. Funny enough, I don't love him too much against the mutant class. I like him more against other classes, which is kind of interesting because a lot of mutants, they punish bleed, they punish incinerate, and also shock, and those are 3 of his debuffs, right? He does have the poison, of course, but just something to keep in mind there, just something to keep in mind there. But that is going to be it for this video on Arcade. Let me know what you think about this guy in the comment section below. If you enjoyed it, drop your boy a big old like and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. North Star's coming pretty soon, man. I'll be seeing you around.